Alright guys, welcome to the channel, and today is going to be a very special day as we have our first ever podcast on the Formula Legiona YouTube channel. Today we're going to be on the monthly Motorsport podcast and reviewing all the news and rumors from the month of November for episode 1 of this podcast. So, first up on the monthly Motorsport podcast, we'll talk about the news stories of Guan Yu Zhou moving to Alfa Romeo, what new team is rumored to be joining the hypercar class in the near future, and of course, that epic championship fight between Verstappen and Hamilton. And of course, much more coming your way here on the monthly Motorsport podcast. All right, welcome everyone to episode 1 of the monthly Motorsport podcast here today. I am joined by my fellow YouTubers. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about all the news from the recent month and all the rumors and all the talking points from the previous couple of weeks and all that sort of thing. So we're going to be doing this every single month, and we're going to be going into this and just trying to talk about all the news that's happening. I'm Formula Legiona, your kind of host for today's little episode that we're doing here of the monthly Motorsport podcast, and I'm joined by Doosley, D-Snug Gaming, Fabregas, and Claude. So welcome to the monthly Motorsport podcast, everyone. How's everyone doing?
Pretty good.
I'm doing all right.
Doing pretty good. Thanks for having me. Really excited to do this for you every month. Yep, really looking forward to it.
Hello, and yeah, thanks for having me today. I'm looking forward to getting into what we have arranged for today, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Awesome. All right, guys, let's get straight into this. So, as I mentioned earlier on, to all you viewers watching right now, we have a lot of news that we got to talk about in today's podcast. Of course, there is a lot of stuff to cover, a lot of news that came out in the recent month about little topics and also big news stories around the motorsport world. So, first off, I want to say thank you to all the viewers that are watching right now. Stick along till the end of the podcast. You guys can see all the news that we're going to be talking about in today's episode. So, first up, we got to talk about one of the most biggest talking points in the world of motorsport right now. And that, of course, is the new championship, the hypercar class in the World Endurance Championship and the IMSA series as well. And there's a few talking points to go over from the recent weeks. And I think the biggest story that came out a few weeks ago is that Alpine, the French manufacturer, will be joining the hypercar grid in the World Endurance Championship in 2023. So what's your guys' thoughts on Alpine joining the hypercar series?
So all I have to say is that they might do well, they might not do well. Like a couple of manufacturers in the WEC, and it can affect lots of things. They might take some wins, they might not, and we'll just see how they perform.
Well, I, for one, am excited to see them in the WEC. I think they did the right thing for Renault. Go ahead and rebrand as far as in F1 is concerned. Take a few years and then use that knowledge that they gain, especially with the regulation change coming next season, and then take one more year. Use that knowledge, use that experience that they gain with that engine in F1, try to turn that over into their hypercar series for the WEC. I think Alpine's in the right direction, and hopefully they get some good results.
Well, I believe Alpine entering WEC is one of the best things that can happen to WEC. Even more with the amount of manufacturers that WEC is going to have in the LMH and LMDH category in 2023. I expect a lot from Alpine, seeing that they rented Rebellion cars for 2021. They have some experience as. Also, as Fabregas said, they have the Formula One engine, which WEC engines are not obviously not exact, but they are similar to the Formula One engines, and they pretty much have a great relationship with Renault. So I'm pretty sure that they can figure something out to be in the level of Toyota, Audi, Peugeot, and mostly everyone that's going to compete in that WEC Championship in 2023.
Yeah, to be fair, I honestly think it's a good move overall for Alpine. Obviously with the whole rebrand, with the new colours of their team, it's overall a good look. And I remember in Le Mans, I remember seeing Fernando Alonso and Esteban Ocon there, and it looks like Alpine are kind of on the kind of the drive, and they're looking into the future, and they're thinking, the world endurance championship is kind of the way to go. And obviously, this is great news for them, and we wish them the best of luck. So, yeah, that's honestly my thoughts on that.
Yeah, great topics there to talk about. Thank you guys all for your opinions on that. I have to agree with each and every one of you on Alpine. I think we all can agree that it's going to be exciting to see them join. Of course, it's exciting to see any new manufacturer join a new championship, especially the French marque Alpine. Of course, we've been seeing how well they've been doing in Formula One. And also, I can't wait to see what they can do in the 24 Hours of Le Mans as well, which is, of course, a part of the World Endurance Championship. And of course, that would mean that if they got a win, they would be able to take their first win since 1978, which was quite a while ago. And so, yeah, it'd be great to see if Alpine can challenge the likes of Toyota, Ferrari, Porsche, Audi, and other manufacturers that are on this grid. It's going to be truly, truly exciting. All right, so yeah, thank you again for all your opinions. And now I'm going to ask your opinions again, but on a different topic. We move to the Le Mans 24 Hours again and the World Endurance Championship IMSA Series, all that sort of thing, as we go into a different topic about that, particularly two other manufacturers that are likely to join the series. Now, it's not officially confirmed, but there's been a lot of rumors that have been coming out recently about two different manufacturers joining, and those two manufacturers are Jaguar and Lotus. Now, you guys are probably wondering, those manufacturers haven't had like any news about them joining the series. Well, let me explain that real quickly. So there's been rumors that Tata Motors and Geely will be joining the hypercar class. And if they join, they most likely will send Jaguar and Lotus. Of course, Tata Motors owns Jaguar and Land Rover, and they'll most likely send Jaguar to the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship. And then same thing with Geely. They own Lotus, and Volvo is another famous manufacturer as well, but they will most likely send Lotus.
Especially with Jaguar, it will most likely look to be happening because they want to repeat some history that they had in the past when they were driving in the Le Mans. And overall, it will be happening. Not really sure with Lotus, but it will. And I also think that it will possibly be happening. I don't really think 100%. But overall, I just think probably Jaguar will go in, but not sure on Lotus.
So, I mean, thinking about both Jaguar, the Evija for Lotus is obviously one of those great hypercars out there. Them opening up this category, what we're doing is hoping it'll reinvigorate the world to, bring in more cars. Obviously, more manufacturers trying to get in this, at least putting their car in there and seeing what it does as far as testing with its ability to compete with the likes of all the other cars already out there, especially in the LMH categories as well. So I'm really looking forward to that. I think Jaguar probably has its one toe in the door already. But as far as Lotus, I would love to see them back out there. I mean, we remember their old days of in Formula One, of course, and they have a great racing pedigree. Would definitely love to see them back on the grid.
So, them joining the grid, um, as I said with Alpine, it will be basically one of the best things that can happen to the WEC Championship. Um, Mostly for both for Jaguar and Lotus. The thing is, as you said, Lotus has never ever competed in the WEC category, so it will be pretty. I wouldn't say weird, but it will be shocking to see Lotus on WEC, on my opinion, because normally when you see for example, when we first saw Rebellion in WEC, it was kind of shocking. For the same with Glickenhaus, because you had never seen those companies, let's call them, race, and normally WEC is companies that have competed before, even if it's classic, as with Jaguar. But of course, that they have to offer a lot to the fans that will probably be thinking that they want Jaguar and Lotus both to do pretty decent. Well, not pretty decent, sorry, pretty good. But it also depends on how the hypercars develop. Also, as you said, Broom, it hasn't been confirmed yet, so everything that we say right now might not happen. But in the case that they do join WEC, it will probably be a manufacturer war between every single manufacturer back there.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you. I think it's going to be a very interesting race, if Jag and Lotus join, and of course with all these other manufacturers joining as well. Yeah, completely agree with all your guys' topics there and all your opinions on all that. But yeah, I think it's going to be interesting to see if Jaguar and Lotus do join the series. And as we mentioned as well, it is unknown if they're joining. It's just a rumor. But of course, we want to talk about that as it was a rumor that was starting to spike in the recent weeks. So yeah, it will be very interesting. But that concludes our section about all the news about the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship IMSA series. We will cover most likely more news that will be coming in the next episode that will be coming out in December. So let's move on to another motorsport series, a series that I'd say is starting to get a lot more attention in the recent years. It's quite new to the motorsport grid of all these different motorsports, and that is Formula E. Formula E is the electric formula, and so this is where we see a lot of different manufacturers that we don't really see in like other categories like the World Endurance Championship or the F1 Championship. And so this is more of like an electric championship. But anyway, yeah, so Formula E Season 8 is coming up in the coming weeks. We will have preseason testing as well. So first off, I want to get your guys' opinions on Formula E and what you guys' thoughts are on the coming seasons and particularly Season 8.
I will say that Formula E is pretty much back in the day wasn't like possible because electricity wasn't that huge thing back in the day. But nowadays, electrical technicians, everything like that, is coming here, and now you can make electric cars and things like that. And I think that Formula E is a very good championship, a bit like some other motorsports, which has championships, lots of battles and championship fights, and that's my. And on season 8, I'm thinking that it will be a bit different if there will be new regulations. If any of us have seen them, and if there are new regulations, there will be lots of things going on in season 8, and there's going to be probably a huge turnaround in motorsport.
Yeah, really looking forward to the next season, Season 8. Yeah, they've already started releasing some liveries of the cars. We've seen some driver changes as far as Formula E is concerned. Nick DeVries, obviously, last year won the Formula E championship, but very tight battle. I mean, it's very competitive racing. I've really enjoyed the way that they run these cars with the different rules as far as being able to use things as far as the battery pack to get some boost and stuff like that. And I think in popularity it is gaining very, very, very quickly. I wish they would release something as far as a game for us to be able to play against each other in Formula E cars. I think that would be fantastic. But as far as the racing series, season 8 coming up soon, yeah, really looking forward to that. I'm going to be paying a lot more attention. Behoove everyone else to really start following this. It's a great place for drivers to maybe move to Formula One. Also for drivers that have not cut it in Formula One, I think they can make a fantastic home in the Formula E cars. So yeah, a few changes coming to the season this series this season. So really looking forward. They're probably going to update all that here in the next few weeks because I think we should be starting early February, I believe, is when we will be getting underway, if I'm not mistaken. So, really looking forward to this season. Obviously, some drivers have changed, so I'm not really sure who I want to put my finger on as far as the team is going forward. But we were talking about, obviously, Jaguar is in Formula E. Obviously, Porsche is in Formula E. So, really looking forward to see how their electric cars can transition over to WEC, of course, their hypercars, and how they can use some of that technology over to those engines and then, of course, into Formula One, see if those teams decide to maybe make a plunge there at some point, as the Volkswagen Group is kind of thinking about it. And I'm hearing a lot of rumors as far as they're buying parts of McLaren. So, really looking forward to see that. But yeah, Formula E, fantastic series. Recommend everybody start getting into that and watching it a little bit.
Ooh, I have to agree with you here, Fabregas. Um, Season 8 is going to be one of the best seasons. You have mentioned who the champion, the first world champion from Formula E, Nick de Vries. Formula E, as Fabregas said, it's been gaining popularity. Would also be great to have again, game. Sorry, but for me, people have said this, and I have to agree with them because it's my opinion as well. Formula E is a series that has been developing a lot over time. The problem is that there isn't just that punctual chaos that we have on some motorsport categories, as you may have in Formula One or WEC or Indy or maybe even MotoGP, for to put you an example out of cars. Um, but Formula E normally has that chaos that you get every time. That is just something you can't control. FIA can't control. Race control can't. Um, but I have to say that it's been getting better and better as time has been going past. And I'm pretty certain that in the next couple of years, of course, with the Formula E Season 8 modifications, I hope the drivers will improve a lot. Not only drivers, but also the car performance. And that in the near future, this category will be near perfect for them to just have not only clean racing, but fair and hopefully less chaos.
Yeah, I definitely agree with all your guys' opinions there. It's going to be very exciting to see where Formula E can go. I think it's a new motorsport that I think a lot of people are going to start getting into. I think it's a brilliant motorsport, a really interesting motorsport that I'm going to be certainly getting into more next season when Season 8 comes out and all that sort of thing. I mean, also we got the thing is that Formula E is an electric series, and that could also help out normal road cars as well. That technology, that's part of the reason why a few of those manufacturers are actually in Formula E, is not just to race and win, but also to learn and to be able to use that technology from Formula E in their normal road cars and be able to make those cars more better and safer and all that sort of thing. Yeah, it's just incredible to see the technology that's in with Formula E. It's also a big, there's big story points coming out as well that like Mercedes, they won the championship last season with Nick de Vries and the Constructors Championship as well, but they left the sport. Some may say they may return to the 24 Hours of Le Mans and the World Endurance Championship, or mainly focus on Formula One or something like that. There's also Audi leaving as well. They are definitely going to the hypercar class and possibly even Formula One as well. And so it's huge to see that some of these manufacturers are they come into the sport and they're doing so great, and then they decide that right now they need to step away for a bit, and then maybe they come back. You know, it's a very interesting sort of sport, and I can't wait to see what happens in the future. So anyway, enough from the Formula E side. We're going to move into pretty much the main topic of this podcast, and that, of course, is the Formula One world. I think a few things that we need to talk about mainly have to do with drivers and also have to do with rumors that are going around as well. So in the recent months, we had news that Rich Energy would be returning to Formula One. Now, the last time Rich Energy raced in F1 was with Haas. They sponsored the team back in 2019. The deal didn't go very well, but there's news that they're returning to Formula One. So I want to get all your opinions on Rich Energy possibly returning to Formula One. Is this true, or is this not going to be happening?
I don't really think that it's going to be happening. Reason being that Rich Energy in 2019 they did not have a good relationship with the Formula One world and Haas and all the other manufacturers. And I don't. If they want to join F1, in my opinion, they just need to create a team on their own because if they can do another fallout and break out with F1 and just probably never return ever again.
Yeah, as far as their relationship status with especially Haas, I don't really see them happening. I mean, if they get a small sponsorship in there, that would be fine. Obviously, they're not going to be going along with the Red Bulls or anything like that. But I think as far as the relationship with the energy company, I think their owner, I've seen him. We've obviously seen all the Netflix specials. I don't think this man is really legit, but we shall see. I think if they do get in, there'll be a small sponsor for maybe Haas again, but I think that relationship has fallen out, and I really don't see any of the other teams really giving them a look go. My personal opinion on this, it was probably leaked by someone in their camp, and it's just kind of a publicity stunt for Rich Energy to get their name out there. Honestly, I've never seen this drink. I think it's more of a European thing. You guys can weigh in a little bit more on that. I've never seen it in the store. I've never seen the product. I've never seen a commercial for it. In my personal opinion, it was probably just a publicity stunt from someone inside the company to try to promote them a little bit.
Or I have to agree with Fabregas. I think that's just something to promote. I haven't seen a drink, or I've basically seen the same thing as him. I have never seen an advert or not even the drink. I also have to say that as you also have said, 2019 went quite wrong. And they didn't have good relationship neither with the paddock or the actual drivers or any of the team. But it's just that, yes. I think that they have to create their own team to join Formula One again, because if they do join another team, it's not going to end up properly as it happened last time. I think it will end up wrong. Teams just want F1 to be a serious sport. Rich Energy kind of brought kind of make the seriousness a little bit lower because they didn't take it so seriously. For if you go back to the posts back when they were in Formula One, they would just take pictures. From example, I remember when in Peculiar in Monaco, the Haas were ahead of the Red Bull of Pierre Gasly, and they decided to say Rich Energy ahead of Red Bull and Roast Red Bull. They never had a great relationship, and they've also had a lot of polemics. No, outside of F1, with other drinks. So if they ever want to come back, I personally hope they will do it on their own, and it will most likely be on their own. But I doubt they're ever coming back.
Yeah, gotta agree with all your guys' opinions on that one. It is a very, very interesting topic because we don't really know what's for certain here. It was just a few things posted on Twitter, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it is quite interesting to see if Rich Energy would return after what happened in 2019 with Haas and all that situation. It would be quite fascinating to see them return. But I gotta agree with what Duzel just said there. I would like to see them join, like maybe like if they join on their own kind of thing, and that I think would be a big topic. Of course, I think they would most likely want to like actually brand a team and like sponsor them, kind of like what they did with Haas in 2019. But as it stands, I don't see them going to a different team. There was rumors that they would go to Alfa Romeo, but with Guan Yu Zhou now coming to that team and bringing all that money into that team, they most likely won't need Rich Energy to take over that team kind of thing with the sponsoring. So it's looking likely that Rich Energy most likely won't take over and sponsor one team. It's most likely that they would have to build their own team, which is looking pretty unlikely. So I don't know. It's a really interesting situation. We'll probably get some more news in the coming weeks and stuff like that. But moving on to our next topic that we got to talk about, and this is more focusing on the drivers and particularly Formula One and actually IndyCar as well, and particularly McLaren. So in IndyCar right now, we have a certain driver that was battling for the championship last year. His name is Pato O'Ward, and he is very talented. I gotta say, guys, I think he's one of the best drivers from last season. Of course, he lost out to Alex Palou, but Pato did do a really good job in that season. So because of his performance in IndyCar, I want to ask the question: will Pato O'Ward join Formula One? Is that possible for the Mexican driver to join the grid in Formula One? And would that be with McLaren? Of course, he is with the Aero McLaren SP IndyCar team in, of course, IndyCar. So would he join McLaren in Formula One in the future? I want to get all your guys' thoughts on Pato O'Ward possibly joining Formula One in the future.
As you said, he is a very good driver, missed out the championship, so in my opinion, he will have pace. And he can lead himself to the championship. And if he does join, it's possibly going to bring more action to the manual Formula One sport, and it's just going to be just a nice little fun ride.
Yeah, I think Pato Ward definitely has a possibility of joining F1. I mean, I don't, obviously for the 2022, I don't really see that happening. I think pretty much our seats are all full now. I'm sure we'll talk about that in just a few moments here. But as far as 2023 and moving forward, if he does continue his run as he is doing now, I do believe he has a chance, the Mexican driver, to join Sergio Perez as his compatriot in Formula One. It'd be lovely to see. He's definitely got the talent. Still at a decent age to be joining Formula One as well. I'm not sure if it would be McLaren drive if he would move straight over to McLaren, but we'll definitely see how things turn out. Especially Yuki Tsunoda, we'll see how he does in 2022 as he has been kept by AlphaTauri, and then we'll see how that partnership Guan Yu Zhou fares in F1 as well as he moves up. But as far as Pato Ward, I can definitely see it happening, but I mean, there's only 20 seats on that F1 grid, and they are pretty full at the moment. And then you've got guys like Piastri waiting in the wings as well in Formula 2. Everyone thought he would get a seat coming up for the next season, but it did go to Zhou, and I'm sure we'll talk about that in just a few minutes. But I can definitely see Pato Ward getting an eye or two looking at his way, definitely over the next 2 or 3 years.
Yeah, in my opinion, I'm 100% sure Pato will get a drive soon. It will be, in my opinion, I think he's going to get it by 2023, 2024. We know that Ricciardo's contract is going to end at the end of 2022, so my hopes are that he's going to get the seat back then. Pato has the talent for F1 for sure. He was a rushed Red Bull Academy member. Some I remember Red Bull wanted to see if he was the next Max Verstappen by rushing him in two GP2 series rounds. Unfortunately for Pato, he did not get great results. He did show some talent though. He then went to Super Formula and then to Indy, and he has showed great pace on both categories. And he's for sure going to be one of the stars of the future of Formula One, even if he's not in yet. I'm pretty sure that he's going to get the seat, and of course, it's going to affect the algorithm of F1 drivers and how they get in, because I believe we have barely, if not never, seen an Indy driver making the big move to Formula One. It's always been reverse from F1 to Indy. We nearly saw it with Herta when Andretti wanted to buy Sauber. The algorithm has always been there. It's never changed. If Pato manages to break it, it's going to be amazing, because we might see drivers like Colton Herta joining F1, maybe with Andretti, in the case that Andretti come in. We could even see Indy lights or normal Indy drivers, unless formula categories like F2, F3, or European formulas. So yeah, Pato's move is definitely going to happen in my opinion, and could definitely change the meaning of Formula One and America.
Moving on to another important topic and probably one of the most important driver transfers we have seen. Of course, it's the final driver transfer of 2022. Guan Yu Zhou is joining Formula One from F2. He has made the step up to Formula One, but the big talking point is that Guan Yu Zhou is joining Alfa Romeo next season and will replace Antonio Giovannazi, who is leaving the sport. And I gotta say, real quickly, before I hand it all over to you guys, it's a really difficult call. I was actually making a YouTube video about Guan Yu Zhou and Antonio Giovanazzi, and it was really hard to make it because I feel for Antonio, I feel for Guan Yu. You know, this is huge for Guan Yu Zhou's career, but this also hurts Antonio Giovanazzi's career as he's not going to be in Formula One next season. He doesn't have a seat. There's no seats left for him to join. He's actually joining Formula E next season with Penske. So yeah, just quickly wanted to say that, and I'm going to hand it all over to you guys to talk about Guan Yu Zhou joining Alfa Romeo, replacing Antonio Giovanazzi for the 2022 season.
In my opinion, it was a very risky decision because we already knew that Antonio Giovinazzi had lots of talent in him, and in my opinion, it was pretty much a bad idea that it's pretty much bad that he doesn't have a seat. But also, I like seeing like F2 drivers getting the step up to F1 because it's like the new generation is now taking over the old generation. Like Lewis Hamilton's probably going to retire soon. All those drivers will retire soon, of course. And overall, that's my personal opinions on the Guan Yu Zhou transfer.
I'll have to disagree with one little part there about Antonio Giovinazzi. Obviously, he's an F1 driver. He's got immense talent, but in F1, I've never thought that he really proved anything. Obviously, this year he's had a couple really good drives and some really unfortunate luck. So at the start of the season, especially, I thought maybe he was going to retain that seat because he was actually throwing something out there. Maybe they would retain him when Kimi announced his retirement, but they decided to go a different direction. So unfortunate for Gio, he is moving to Formula E, so good for him. I'm glad he's still racing. But as an F1 driver, I never really saw that much in him. I'm sure he's got immense talent. I'm just, like I said, I haven't really seen that out of him. But Guan Yu Zhou coming in, I think, is a fantastic move for F1. And I'm going to say this not disrespectfully about what it's about, but the money definitely plays a huge part in this. And China is a huge country, billions of people, and there's going to be a lot of money to come with that. And I think Guan Yu Zhou is a good driver to bring in to try to open up that market to Formula One a little bit better because he's obviously the first Chinese driver. That's going to bring in a lot of views from China. More China is going to be more excited about it, and the influx of money will definitely help. And I don't mean that in a bad way. Money does mean a lot in Formula One. It is a very, very, very expensive sport to get into, and I think they made the right decision by bringing Guan Yu Zhou in over Piastri. Not that Piastri doesn't deserve it, but as far as moving forward, F1 growing its brand, bringing in a Chinese driver was probably the smart move to make. And Alfa Romeo, I think next year, I think Alfa Romeo is going to step up a little bit as far as they're concerned. They've got Bottas coming over, obviously. His experience, his know-how, his knowledge in the paddock, I think is definitely going to help Alfa Romeo. They're retaining that as they're losing Kimi, but gaining that experience back with Bottas and then bringing in a nice, fresh, young face like Guan Yu Zhou, who brings in an immense amount of financial support with them, I think is definitely going to help Alfa Romeo. And then with the regulation changes, I think that kind of evens out the playing field. And Alfa Romeo, especially Kimi, has had some pretty decent results in the past few months in racing. Of course, he did sit out a couple of races due to COVID. But yeah, so I'm really excited about Alfa Romeo moving forward. And I think Guan Yu Zhou was the right choice for not only Alfa Romeo, but F1 in total. Yeah.
Guan Yu Zhou to Alfa Romeo wasn't probably shocking move in my opinion because I did expect it. It's a great move by Alfa Romeo as Fab said there because the the Chinese market is pretty extensive, and they don't have much views from Formula One at China. Of course, this is going to make an immense amount of money. Money talks in most of sports, unfortunately. But Guan Yu he had a special. He has a special touch back in F2. Piastri, for example, also deserves a Formula One seat. Unfortunately for him, he's going to stay as a reserve in Formula Two. Sorry, in Alpine, and he will most likely stay in Formula Two unless he wins the title. But anyways, the fact that money talks and everyone cannot take the fact that Sue is a great driver. Of course, as Fabregas said, Boto is going to give him a lot of experience, as Kimi did back in the day with Giovannazi. Bringing in experience is always a good sign for a team if they have a debut driver or a pretty young driver next to him. So I'm pretty sure that Alfa Romeo are going to make a quality jump next year. Maybe it will be with Bottas. Maybe Zhou will be shining as he has in F2 the last 2 years. But these stars are the future of Formula One, and we just can't stop the future of Formula One. We have to move on. Maybe money is talked. Maybe talent has. But we just gotta deal with it and hope that they are the stars of tomorrow, and they are not, just not there because of something that is in talent.
Yeah, I gotta agree with all your talking points there, guys. I think the move that Guan Yu Zhou has gone into Formula One is a surprising one. I gotta say. I mean, he's super talented. It's interesting because I think he's an amazing driver. I absolutely think that he deserves a Formula One seat. But at the same time, I think it's really hard to see Antonio Giovinazzi go because he's got so much talent as well. He's got a lot of future in the sport that, unfortunately, I don't see happening anytime soon. Of course, Giovinazzi still has future in motorsport. I've heard he's joining the hypercar class with Ferrari, possibly with Kimi Räikkönen in the 24 Hours of Le Mans in 2023. But we will find out how that all works out. But yeah, I think Guan Yu Zhou, it's going to be interesting to see what he can do. I think he'll be. I think he might push Valtteri Bottas. To be honest, I think he might be able to challenge the Finnish driver to possibly get some good points for the team. Of course, we'll see what Alfa Romeo are like next season. They could be a completely different team from this year in 2021. But who knows? We'll see how that all works out. It is a very interesting topic, the Guan Yu Zhou and Antonio Giovinazzi topic right there with Alfa Romeo. So moving on to our final topic of this episode on the Monthly Motorsport Podcast. And this one is, I think, our biggest topic that we got to talk about because next time out in December, F1 will be over. So we got to talk about this. This, of course, is the championship. And feel free, guys, to talk a little bit longer and discuss it, of course, with each other and all that sort of thing. This is the F1 championship. I just want to get all your thoughts on the upcoming championship. Lewis Hamilton, Max Verstappen, Mercedes versus Red Bull, Ferrari, McLaren, AlphaTauri, Alpine Drivers Championships going down. It's all going down to the final round. What's your thoughts?
In my opinion, the teams are all very good. It's just the fact that their cars aren't built to the full maximum. Every single team's got potential. Every single driver's got potential. And I personally think that it will go to the wire with the F1 championship between Verstappen and Hamilton, with and Mercedes and Red Bull, including drivers and constructors, of course. And there's going to be lots of changes around these, because of course the new regulations for 2022 are coming out, and we've seen the car. It looks pretty cool. Also looks pretty weird, in my opinion. But overall, this bunch that are going to go into 2022 are very good drivers. They have lots of skill in their future. But currently, in my opinion, Lewis Hamilton, will win drivers and then constructors I'm thinking Mercedes. It is an 11-point gap between the two parties. But the thing is, let's also talk about further down the order, because Alpine and AlphaTauri are tied on points, for example, both on 112, and also in the Drivers' Championship. There's going to be some overall decent fights going into the last race of the season, like Norris and Leclerc, Bottas and Perez, if Perez will have the pace to catch up to Bottas, and then Bottas keeps on dropping back. They're going even further down. It's Tsunoda, Stroll, Russell, and Raikkonen, all separated by only 16 points. And then there's a fight for 16th between Raikkonen and Latifi. So there's lots of fights going up and down the order, and drivers and constructors wise. And those are my opinions on that.
Yeah, so I think it's been a phenomenal season so far. We've had some great battles, obviously lots of controversy that keeps us talking about it, keeps us interested. Track limits probably the biggest talking point. Obviously, Lewis and Max having their great duels, not only at Brazil just a couple weeks ago, but obviously the crash at Silverstone, and then the battle at Bahrain. So, yeah, lots of that controversy going on. Obviously, Drivers' Championship, Max, small lead going into these last three races. I think the Mercedes power unit, especially with Lewis's power unit, as he did make that change in Brazil, he's going to have a stronger engine in these last few races, and I think the last few races, of course, will benefit that Mercedes power unit with the way the tracks lay out. So I know Max still has a little bit of a lead here going into the Drivers' Championship, but I think it's Lewis's to lose at the moment. Ferrari did bring a little bit of an upgrade to their engine mid-season, and that seemed to put them over the top as far as their battle with McLaren is concerned. So, yeah, McLaren seems to have fallen off the pace a little bit in the last few months, a couple months, last few races over that time. So, not sure if it's just, coming down to the season, those engines do wear and tear, and you lose a little bit of performance out of them. Ferrari seems to pick up the pace with that concern. As you did mention, Alpine, AlphaTauri, great battle going on there, right there for fifth place in fifth and sixth, and I mean in the drivers constructors championship. So really looking forward to that. Williams got a handful of points this year. Alfa Romeo is behind them, and then of course Haas has not done anything this season, but I do respect their decision to not bring any upgrades to the car. Let's just go ahead and groom Mazepin and Schumacher for next season, try to level that playing field out, and then of course they'll get a little bit more aero package time in the wind tunnels as far as that's concerned going into next season. So this could benefit them going forward as far as the Haas team. I think Mercedes has the edge there as far as the Constructors' Championship is going with these final races. I think that power unit just suits Mercedes going forward. So, yeah, I'm sorry I said that a couple times, but I just these last tracks, I mean, they're very power-hungry tracks, and I just think Mercedes is going to have a little bit of an advantage over the Red Bulls moving forward in these final three races. So, yeah, but it's been a fantastic season so far, one of the best I can remember for the last few years. At least it seems like Mercedes has been running away from it, but Red Bull's kind of stepped up a little bit this year. Max, fantastic drives from him, and yeah, I mean, I'm rooting for Max to pull it out. We've seen Lewis on that top step at the end of every season for quite a few years now. So yeah, definitely looking forward to see something new. I think Max deserves it, and hopefully going into next year we can see have a new driver champion, and he can change the number on his car if he wants to 1 for his first driver championship. But yeah, would love to see that happen. But I think Lewis kind of holds a little bit of an advantage going through. But it's going to be down to the wire, and I'm really looking forward to finishing out this season.
Yeah, so every team is going to be super equal at the end. Drivers, you got Leclerc and Sainz, Bottas and Perez, which is kind of a big gap, but Perez's latest performances can help him. Verstappen, Hamilton, obviously the main one. On my personal opinion, Verstappen's going to get this championship. If I'm not wrong, just the Max Verstappen win will mean that if he gets two P3s, if I'm not wrong, that will be 55 points.
All right, great answers, everyone. Yeah, I gotta agree with everything you guys said there on just the championship. One thing's for certain, we're gonna get an epic championship to remember in history. You know, Verstappen versus Hamilton. That championship is going down to the final 2 races of the season. I'm going to say Max Verstappen wins the championship. I'm going to say Mercedes wins the Constructors' Championship. Verstappen seems to have the edge over Lewis in terms of just getting the outright pace. So Max Verstappen, I think, most likely will win the championship. And real quickly, I'll mention this. I want to see Verstappen win the championship. And the thing is that I want to see Lewis Hamilton win the championship too. He's been absolutely dominant, and fair play to him. He has done a brilliant job throughout the last couple of years. And it's amazing to see that. But the reason why I want to see Verstappen win the championship is I'm not like picking sides or anything here, guys. I just want to see more battles, because the thing is that I want to see Verstappen win it, because Hamilton's gonna be on the back foot, you see, and so we're gonna see a better Hamilton, I think, next year. I think if Verstappen wins this championship, I think Hamilton's gonna get like, okay, I need to take this back. I need to go in there and win that championship off of Verstappen. And I think with that motivation from Lewis, and also the Max trying to defend that championship next year as well, I think we're gonna get an amazing championship next year if things go the way I'm thinking they're going to go in this season, because Lewis has been dominating the championship, and I want to see Lewis not win this championship, so he's able to have more strength, more confidence, more of a boost coming into next season and looking to dominate that championship, look to take off of Verstappen. So it's going to be interesting to see, but I think Lewis and Max are kind of equal going into the final 2 rounds of Saudi Arabia and Abu Dhabi, and it's kind of an unknown at this time. It's going to be very, very interesting to see how this all works out. All right, guys, that is the end of the first episode of the monthly Motorsport podcast. Thank you all so much for watching this one. And big thank you to all my friends that helped me out to make this podcast. All their YouTube channels are in the description down below, so please check out all of them. They'll be joining us in the next one that we do. And speaking of that next one, I want to try and get some questions from you guys watching about any motorsport related questions. So put all your questions down in the comments section below, and your question could be featured in the next podcast that we do. I hope you enjoyed that one. Send in your comments as well on your thoughts about the podcast itself, and if you guys had any opinions on any of the topics that we covered. But until next time, guys, hope you enjoyed watching. Have a great day, and peace out.